anyone here? Jesus. They're everywhere. What in God's name?
This is another episode of the Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast on Spotify, Libsyn, and iTunes. Welcome back, everyone. Long time no see for the podcast, but we still have been on our YouTube, youtube.com/Let's Talk Resident Evil, and Twitch, twitch.tv/Let's Talk Resident Evil for your survival horror streams and more. Welcome back. We got Richard back on the show. The original duo is back for this episode for an in-depth podcast discussion on the Resident Evil 2 remake, what we know so far. So we covered everything after all the demos, the gameplays, and the leaks and everything came out. We were able to organize it, take notes, and it turned out to be a really fun show. I'd like to give a quick shout out to Jerome. Shout out to him for editing this episode of the podcast audio-wise. It sounds fantastic, and he offered to do it a while ago, and as soon as the show was recorded, I didn't hesitate, and I actually might make him our official editor. It came out so well. He has his own studio and stuff, so thank you so much for that, man. Shout out to you for making this episode sound the best it can. And we're gonna get right into it. Obviously the Resident Evil 2 remake hype is real, so we didn't want to miss out on getting a podcast out to you this week, so let's get right to our discussion of Resident Evil 2 with Richard. An in-depth podcast discussion. Let's go.
But we never meant for this to happen.
It's coming. It's coming back!
Welcome, everyone, and this is a brand new episode of the Let's Talk Resident Evil podcast. And this is our Resident Evil 2 remake discussion. And this time, as you heard in the intro probably already, we got Richard back on the show after a long time. But for those of you who don't know, and I introduced this in a certain way, we've been doing the show for a long time. It started in fall of 2012 with our Resident Evil 6 discussion. We've come a long way, and my original co-host was Richard, and obviously it's been versatile since then. We've had different guests and whatnot, but it's good to have you back on here, man.
Thanks. It's good to be back.
And we are obviously discussing the elephant in the room, which is Resident Evil 2 Remake was finally announced after 3 years. 2015, I think the We Do It thing started. And that was, a long time of nothingness. So now all this stuff's coming out. Fans are talking again. Us being a community-based channel since 2010 here on YouTube, it's 8 goddamn years. Goddamn years. 2 more years and you got 10 years already, which is fucking crazy. Time goes by so quick. And we've seen the series at a low point. We've seen it try to get to a high point with 7. But now we are at Resident Evil 2 Remake. So we made it this far. And it's crazy to think that this game's turning 21 in January to line up with the release date. And that seems to be, what they're aiming for. And I guess it comes down to, how they want to portray it. But with everyone wanting to know where you've been and everything like that, we're able to finally get you back on here. And we both saw did you see the trailer at the same time it was aired, or did you see it after the fact? You don't seem like a person to me that would watch Sony E3 for it.
No, I saw it after the fact. I watch all of my E3 content in chunks, or little bits, I should say.
Well, no, I'm kidding.
Well, that's not the right way to do it.
That's not a right way. No, not allowed.
No, I saw the trailers individually when they were uploaded later.
Okay, so that
Yeah.
dictated how you're gonna portray the content. Now, with that being said, when you have like different ways of expecting this after RE7, were you even excited for this?
No, I was not excited. But that goes, that's just me. Like, I'm not usually excited for games anymore. When I saw Resident Evil 2, like the trailer, I was like, okay, this looks pretty good.
So it's one of those things where like it caught your attention.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where you're not excited for it, and then you watch something of it, and then you start getting an interest in it.
So the way you thought how like, because I know you were away for a while. Well, let's get into the trailers right away. We have an agenda here. We are organized this time. We promise. So this won't get off track or anything like that. It'll be pretty consistent. So the first thing is obviously we have the trailers. And the reveal trailer happened right in the beginning of Sony. And Sony's conference, not to get too off topic, but I feel like I have to talk about this. It was so fucking weird. It was so unorganized. It was ridiculous. So what they essentially had apparently is they were moving their audiences between 2 or 3 rooms. The first room was where the Gustavo, who does the Last of Us soundtrack, was playing in there for the Last of Us reveal, which looks great. I'm excited for that as well. But it's like they had to move everybody, so they had these intermissions. Now I'm driving home from work, and I feel sick. Like I feel like I have like the G virus, like I feel like I'm dying. Like this is it. I felt like fatigued, and I'm like I gotta get home. I have to stream. I have to like get on because I don't want to miss it. Like I don't want to miss it. I've been waiting. I'm trying to get home, so I got out a little early. But because they had their weird intermission, they said the showcase started at 9, but then they took a 20-minute intermission, and apparently that was for them to either, number one, they had a problem, or they're taking too long to move people from room to room. So I guess we'll see. But so I finally saw it, and yeah, man, the reveal trailer, we obviously have like the rat climbing, you see the PS1, and that's when I was like, huh. So I was like, this could be it. I see a PlayStation. I see the non-DualShock controller. I was so excited for that.
Yeah. At first, it was one of those things where I looked at it and I was like, that looks like a PS1, but is it actually a PS1? And then the rat moves and it's actually a PS1.
And there's the pizza, there's the pizza in front of it and stuff like that.
It reminded me of the original Resident Evil remake, which is kind of weird to say, but
yeah.
In that game, there was a GameCube, and you had to put the Mo discs in the GameCube.
Yeah, it has to.
So it's kind of cool how RE2 Remake has a PS1
so,
in it.
We see, zombie bite the officer, looks up, Leon shoots him. We see it's Leon, and the crowd goes nuts. It was a great surprise to see, just like to see it. Like that, you hear all this stuff because the trailer fucks with you. Like it's a reveal, so there's some leading up to it of the rat crawling around and stuff and seeing the PS1, and then when you finally see it, you're like, oh shit.
At first, I thought that was a completely different scene. I thought that was when William Birkin gets shot.
Oh.
But then I realized, oh no, it was just it was a cop struggling with a zombie. But that was like the very first thing I thought of when I saw it from the rat's perspective.
Yeah, like anything that's like, going to, be in a way like I think because it's being, and we'll get to the redesigns and stuff like that, but what the reveal showed was the dark and grittiness, and that's the first note I have here on the trailer was the atmosphere. The RE engine looks beautiful in native 4K. It was built around Resident Evil 7, obviously, so it has that aesthetic, and that's the one thing I noticed just from visually seeing the trailer. Now, this is before the general gameplay dropped. This was just the reveal, just from what I was thinking. I was like, well, these aesthetics, it's on the RE engine. There was rumors of that before. Those were correct. It running in full 60 frames is, however, not correct. Apparently, it's not going to run in 60 frames on the Pro, but it is going to run in 4K, but it just won't be solid 60, which I'm a little disappointed about. But I mean, it is what it is. Maybe it'll be 60 on the X, or obviously just get it on fucking PC, which is going to be the best if you can get 4K. It's going to look beautiful. The 4K textures look phenomenal. I mean, where they're able to take gaming now, I'm really excited for stuff like Red Dead and Last of Us 2, which Last of Us 2 might even be on the next console. I think they're building Last of Us 2 on a dev kit for the next PlayStation, but that's just my theory. But I think that there's going to be like different ways for them to implement how scary things can be, the lighting. There's people that are saying from what they've seen that and played, people that played it at E3, shout out to Godchild, he was there playing that. I saw your video, man. But we went to great lengths to actually see it. People were finally playing it already before us. And I think that they're appreciating the new aesthetic. And the trailer, before the gameplay even, like I said, it just showed the Raccoon City, like redone. What do you think about how Raccoon City looks just from these two trailers? Because the reveal trailer and then the trailer that had some gameplay, we're combining it. So just letting you know, we're going over that so we stay on point. Just from what we saw from the trailers, we'll get into the gameplay here in a little bit. But what are your thoughts on how Raccoon City was literally rebuilt just to be destroyed again, hopefully in an RE3 DLC? But, anyway, what do you think about that?
I think it's great. I mean, we didn't get to see too much gameplay of Raccoon City. We saw it in like a cinematic, I think, but I don't think we saw and we saw Leon walking through the streets a little bit, but we didn't see that much gameplay, and it makes me want to watch more.
Yeah, it makes you want to see more of Raccoon City. That's why I want 3, man. But we'll get to that later in the miscellaneous thoughts.
If this is successful, then you can probably expect a Resident Evil 3 remake to look like this and to play like this. But yeah, no, it's great to see Raccoon City again, and it's great to see the police station and the familiar
all
layout.
The iconic landmarks of Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the thing is and it showed how well they're able to, because this is rebuilt from the ground up. That's the first thing I saw. I was like, this is a completely different game. And this is what we knew, but it isn't at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It implements what people wanted, which fans did ask for, stuff like Remake, where they add different things in there, different character dialogues. We saw in the reveal trailer that Marvin is alive and talking. That is Marvin, and that's him. And he has like dialogue, obviously. And in the demo, you see that he does get hurt. But because obviously we know Marvin's fate. That's not going to change. So they're doing stuff like that. What I did notice was that the original RPD, just from that reveal trailer, the desk was in front of, when you walk in, that's the old design of the RPD station. So they're using some old designs, whether it be leftover for 1.5 or old Resident Evil 2 designs, concept arts and whatnot. They seem to be putting that stuff back into the game, and I think that's a really cool thing. Just from the reveal trailer, I was like, that's cool, just seeing that. And again, it had me a while to like think it all over. As far as like one of my favorite elements going into it, I want to say that, of course, we see how well they're going to add on to it, but also I feel like there is going to be some division, but we'll get more into that with the gameplay trailer. The overall trailers themselves were very responsive. Like people loved it, and we saw Claire, we saw Sherry, we saw a Mr. X figure, an Ada shadow, Birkin possibly transformation. Just in those reveal trailers. So they gave us a little bit of everything, it seems like. They're like, we're going to show you this, we're going to show you that. Mm-hmm. There's, Ada, there's Sherry, there's Claire.
You didn't see Ada, clearly, but we're pretty sure it's Ada.
We're pretty sure it's Ada, unless they just, like, give her a different name and it's someone else. But I'm 90% sure, I think Ada is the one voice actor that came back. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong. So someone's gonna yell at me for that, but yeah, so like when that trailer happened, I was like, I want to see more. And we were hours away from getting gameplay, and they streamed it through a development stream. There's videos out there online that got just the gameplay, no commentary, no E3 sounds. It's just the gameplay, like game capture, which is nuts. So this was before that. So we were hours away from getting it. Right away, I had to pick apart what I was liking and the certain things because more of that kind of goes into the gameplay. When you saw the trailer, Richard, did you feel any kind of sort of nostalgia trip taking you back, the fact that you're going to be experiencing Raccoon City again? I know that it might seem contradictory now because you're not into Resident Evil like as much, as you used to be. But I know that you've enjoyed Resident Evil 2 a lot. You played through it several times, so you're no stranger to it. But what do you think, being in the nostalgia era that we are in with movies and games and remakes and remasters and, bringing back TV shows and whatnot, how do you feel about this, nostalgia-wise? Just from these trailers, what your initial first, thoughts were when you're just like, man, it looks like we're back in the good old police station.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone can kind of relate to this when you're really interested in something, or maybe you love something, and then time goes on, and you're not as attached to that one thing as you used to be, or maybe you've just gone busy with other things.
Or some people fall out too. I see a lot of fans that comment on my videos and are like, I stopped paying attention to this and these games, but I jump back in.
Maybe you fell out of Resident Evil. I don't want to say I fell out of it, but I just haven't been playing video games in general for a while now. And when I saw that trailer, it just it did rekindle old memories, of when I first played through Resident Evil 2 and when I first got into Resident Evil. It was nostalgic, and it did kind of get me like, okay, well, this does look pretty good, actually. There were things about the trailer that I wrote down just for the podcast. I wanted to talk about them.
Okay.
And
definitely get into them.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go in order here. So the first thing I noticed was that the camera is now over the shoulder. It's not fixed camera anymore. And I don't really have a problem with it. It reminded me of Resident Evil 4. That's what it felt like.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
Yeah, and I think they even mentioned it when they were playing the demo. But yeah, over the shoulder, it looks good. This is what's to be expected in a modern Resident Evil game. They're probably never going to go back to classic.
No, they're not. I think they believe it's dated, and as us hardcore fans want it, it's not going to happen.
I mean,
so that's why I've just accepted it. Like, as I even said in my breakdown video, I'm like, I'm not going to bitch about stuff I can't change. It's already changed. It's for this modernized gameplay with the RE engine. So that's all there is. There needs to be
the thing with the fixed camera angle. The thing with the fixed camera angle is that they're going to tell you, oh, we wanted to make a new game. We wanted, we know fans love that, but we wanted to do our own thing. The real reason is because it's considered to be a dated mechanic. If you released a game with fixed camera angles, people would probably say, oh, this is stupid because I can't move the camera. It's kind of niche at this point. It's considered niche. It's not a very mainstream mechanic
that's true. Just from a market standpoint, it just
because these guys are thinking about it in terms of money and sales, and it's like that type of camera isn't what's popular anymore. It's not current. It's old. It's dated. And that doesn't mean that I feel that way about it, but this is just how developers in general feel.
That's their mindset.
You're never gonna get another survival horror game with that camera angle again, unless it's a budget title, because in which case they won't be taking a huge risk, or unless it's a remaster. Again, they're not taking a huge risk. But if you want to see like a AAA from the ground up game, unfortunately, you're not going to see that classic camera angle. And
Yeah.
and fans who are upset about that need to realize that it's not what's popular. They're gonna do over the shoulder because games have been over the shoulder for the last 10 years now.
Well,
That-
that's a good point.
That's what people expect.
RE4 and Gears spawned that, and and Dead Space and all the things I kind of carried over, and that's what I did a stream before E3, and I'll even admit that I was like, look, just make it like the remake, and it's good. Make it fixed camera angles. It needs to be fixed. That's what I said, and I wish it was, but again, it's not my game, but and I'm not gonna hark on it and bitch and moan about it, because if it was a game breaker for me, then it would have already lost my attention. This game visually, and that's why I listed it as one of my favorite features, is the fixed camera, because they did it in a way where it's close in your face. The zombies attack you, the camera pans up behind you, and it looks into where the zombie's biting into your neck. Like, it's more, this is what Resident Evil 8 is going to be. And I'm going to say that here right fucking now. The 7 was only VR because Sony was like, here's this money, you make it fucking VR, it's first person, done. If this does well, and it is gonna do well, and sell like fucking crazy, outsell RE7, they're gonna make Resident Evil 8 over the fucking shoulder, and that's perfectly fine, because that's what people fucking know. And when they see this resonate with that, and I'm just doing this to put a pinpoint in for, I mean, we're not talking about Resident Evil 8, what it could be, but this is, like what you said, this is what's in.
Yep.
The RE7 first person was just for VR, guys. That's all it was for. That's the only reason why that game is in first person. That's going to be like the black sheep oddball of the family of Resident Evil games, because it's so different. But again, they're thinking about the money and the VR technology, which is somewhat taking off. It's still really expensive, and not all games are all eligible for that. There's rumors of a VR mode coming with this game, which is possible. It's possible. But that's all I'm saying, is that I think that with this being the over the shoulder, my initial thought was, all right, I just accepted it. I was like, I'm going to embrace it. But at the same time, obviously, again, there's always the part of me that wants it. But you can't always get what you want, but you can get what you need.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Anthony. Okay. I don't know what to say to that. God damn it. No, I would have preferred to have seen fixed camera angle personally, because it's Resident Evil 2. I would have liked to have seen that. I don't, and I think you fall under this category too. We don't really fall under the mainstream crowd.
No,
because
absolutely not. 100% no.
Fans who are upset about this need to realize they're not making this game for fans only. They're making this game because
they're bringing in the casual.
They need to make money, right? So they need to appeal to as big an audience as possible. And fixed camera angles just isn't going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to it's too much of a risk. Now, I know, people might want to say, well, the fans is the reason why they made it. Yeah, but it's like, they need to make their money back. They need to, and they need to...
They probably spent a lot on this game.
Well, from the looks of it, it looks like the most visually impressive Resident Evil yet. It's more visually impressive than 7 was, because it's not using VR. I don't think it is. The VR, it took away from the graphics in Resident Evil 7.
Seeing stuff from the perspective that 2 will be in is like, that's the way you should see those fucking visuals, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why and like I said, we'll talk about the 4K and stuff when we get into like the gameplay in addition to that, because that's when it really shines. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying, man. And that's why, I know that there's going to be that division. But there's people that have left comments are like, well, apparently there's rumors of like they're mixing in the old fixed camera angles, or there might be a mode to do something, or like I know that there is bonus content within a deluxe edition to actually swap in the old soundtrack
which is something that's awesome in place of the new one. I couldn't hear the save room theme too much in the demo. There's a lot of talking. Maybe if you guys find that gameplay trailer with no commentary, you might be able to hear some nuances of the soundtrack. But again, that's how it should work.
Yeah, if they bring in the old sound, well, I think they should. I think the game should have its own soundtrack, but
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. But that's just a bonus feature.
It's good to have that option there, to for players who want to swap it out. I've always said that they should have included both camera angles, but I also understand that it might be too difficult to do that because they're building a certain game and they're building it with over the shoulder in mind. So if they they might not have the option to have fixed camera angles because it might not mix well with the game that they have in mind. Regardless, I'm fine with over the shoulder. I enjoyed RE4, I enjoyed RE5. I even enjoyed RE6, so I'm fine with it. And I do prefer over the shoulder to first person. Not that I'm a first person hater, but it's just what I prefer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people prefer that. I think that's just like something that people have grown to like, because the main staple of the mid 2000s was 4, and that changed things forever. That was revolutionary of camera angles and what other games for the 360 and the PS3 would be utilizing over and over again. So we talked about the camera angles of what we saw, and obviously taken from the gameplay.
One more thing I want to talk about the camera.
Yeah, do you have something else on that you want to talk about while we're on this topic of fixed and over the shoulder?
Yeah. So there's a part in the trailer when Leon's walking through Raccoon City, like he's approaching the police station, and you could tell that the camera is farther back. So I think the camera will be dynamic in the sense that it automatically goes back depending on the environment that you're in.
So it's like
RE6,
like a Resident Evil 3.5 thing.
It's like if the environment is big, I think the camera will zoom out automatically.
Okay.
But that's not confirmed. That's just what I think based on the trailer.
Well, it's just speculation.
Yes. So we talked about the camera. But there are little details in the trailer that I liked, like the liquor. The liquor's back.
Liquor.
There's a nice part in the trailer where the liquor is stabbing someone with its tongue, and the guy is screaming.
Hanging from the ceiling.
Yep. And that scream that he made was it was such a shrill scream. I loved it.
Yeah, and you see a bunch of zombies. They're chowing down. They're roaming around the dark depths of Raccoon City and the police station. And then we also hear in the background, someone says it's Hunk over the transmission. Also, we hear, it sounds like to be Chief Irons. And then also that one lady that sounds like we didn't meant for this to happen. That sounds like Annette.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things I picked up just from the reveal trailer. I was trying to pick, you couldn't really hear it all in the stream. It's more clear on the 4K one they put out online where you can like actually hear it and not hear the crowd. And that's when I picked up on when I did the trailer breakdown, that's when I was able to really hear it.
So the guy who says, need info on my extraction, survival is your responsibility, that is definitely Hunk.
That's Hunk, confirmed.
That's something that Hunk said in Umbrella Chronicles.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
That is a line of dialogue that he said in another Resident Evil game, so it's...
So Hunk is on the way.
Hunk is on the way.
Finally, man.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they also, I just want to throw this out too before I forget, because it happened after I did the videos on it. They did confirm Tofu and the Hunk game as well. All the mini games are back. Whether or not they're DLC and add-ons, which they probably will be. They did the same thing with 7, so
God, I hope not.
That's what it's going to be, man.
Calling
it right here. Calling it right now, man. RE7 did that shit.
Look, I'm not going to be surprised if it is DLC.
I spent like $60 more after spending almost $300 on a collector's edition, and you couldn't give me a fucking You couldn't even give me a fucking season pass with my collector's edition. Fuck you.
I'm so
anyway,
sorry. I didn't spend a cent on DLC for RE7.
I know your ass wasn't gonna fucking do that. you weren't doing shit, bro. You were like, I'm done.
I beat RE7
Checked
twice.
out.
I beat it twice and then I never went back to it.
Dude, I only beat it once.
Oh god.
So you beat it more times than me.
Yeah. It was a good game. It's just,
Well,
it's just me. It's just me.
whatever, Richard. Anyway,
it's
disregarding
me.
what
It's
you're
not,
saying.
It's not you. The new looks. Do you want to talk about the new looks?
Yeah, the designs, right? We're talking about the designs. So the designs are different. Certain
Just based
people
on
were,
like what we saw in the trailer.
yeah.
Trailers, I should say.
Well, the first thing that people said from the trailer was certain people didn't like the young design of Leon. They thought that they could have went with a different design.
Yeah.
And
like
yeah, I'm not a fan of his face, but at the end of the day, like, it's their take on young Leon and Claire.
so like this is the very first impression that I got when I saw Leon's face. This is me without looking at any comment. I was just watching the trailer. This is what I thought of. He shoots the zombie. Camera goes to Leon. Dramatic reveal. Justin Bieber. Now, I don't know if you thought that, but I
Some
thought...
people said that.
okay.
Some people said that. All right, listen, I'm going to be doing a video, and I'm going to tell you this, and it's similar to what we did with, well, you never actually did it.
Because they gave
But
him like
we read
this...
the fan comments, but
They
we
gave
make
him
it a
this,
video.
this baby face. And not baby face, but like... He looks like Justin Bieber. He looks like Pierce from RE7. You know, like that...
Pierce!
That
no!
kind of face. It's not really... Whatever. I'm done. I don't care.
It's just, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a Leon Scott Kennedy face, I guess. Hey, man, people have their opinions on it. People are allowed to pick and choose what they like and what they don't like, you know? I thought Claire looked Hispanic, but...
Okay.
So,
That's
just a joke. I read that somewhere, too. Like, people were like, why does Claire look Hispanic? Why does Leon... Why does Leon... Well, this is what I was going to pitch, right? I want to do what we used to do with the old comments, but I want us to, not in this podcast, but I'm doing a video where we're going to read a few comments from the trailer on YouTube, like all thousands and thousands of comments, pick the best ones, try to get ones that talk about design, try to get ones that talk about, like, the visuals, and, like, you get what I'm saying, though. We'll talk about it after, but I want to do that. And, like, we can find ones, our favorite ones, screenshot them, record you reading them for me in a funny way, and we'll put it together. So,
yeah. I mean, the comment section is coming back. That's my favorite part about a new Resident Evil game is just reading the ridiculous comments.
The YouTube comments. All the comments on my videos have been awesome, though. You guys have been great with the community and supporting and talking, and that's the idea, is conversing and showing different opinions and whatnot. So I've been loving the response and hope to see the same thing at the bottom of this podcast. Now, as far as...
Look, Leon's face it's not a game breaker. I just want to want to put that out there. It's not...
Put it out there because people will be like, what the fuck, dude? Fucking saying the game's bad because it doesn't look like an anime character. The
exactly.
fuck?
I don't want to say that. It's, But
yeah,
to me, it doesn't really feel like Leon, but again...
It is what it is. They're not going to change it.
In the grand scheme of things, like, I don't care. I honestly...
Yeah, you just want to play the fucking game.
Like, we're going to stop recording this podcast, and then I'm just going to forget about it, and I'm going to I'm not even going to think about it. It's not that big a deal.
Are you going to be getting this day one?
I don't know. And that... I honestly don't know. I don't even have a TV in my room anymore.
Come on.
No, like, I literally haven't been playing games.
What do you do, fucking Amish? Live off the grid?
No, I live off my MacBook.
That's true. There's a lot of porn on there.
There's a lot of Netflix and iTunes and a lot of work with
So
editing
how do you,
and stuff.
How do you watch your Blu-rays?
I don't watch Blu-rays. Literally, like I don't
This
really.
guy goes backwards.
Fuck's sake, I don't even know where to begin.
You're going backwards, bro. What the fuck?
Okay, digital is actually forwards. Physical is backwards.
So you think... So are you going to take out like the VCR anytime soon? Start watching the tapes again
VCR
on a CRT?
on a CRT. No, I'm not going to do that because digital is forwards and physical is backward. I'm trying to say that there's Blu-rays and then digital is the next step.
Oh, shut up! You fucking dick! Don't say that. There's reasons why physical media is still a thing. People want it, man, in their hands.
I'm telling you that digital media is the.
I see it, dude. I work in a store that's getting rid of selling CDs forever.
Look,
okay,
the reason I know
what it's doing.
The reason
but
I'm
people
saying
still like
you said I was
4K.
going backwards. No, digital media is gonna be the more popular. So that's forward. That's what I have to say to you, good sir.
Well, what the fuck, dude? You can't leave me like that. You don't collect anything. You just have an empty shelves and just
I don't even have shelves. I don't have shelves anymore. I gave them away.
Do you have your posters?
No.
This is what Richard's been up to for 5 years.
I've just been just downsizing. I'm a minimalist now.
So you're not into material things.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool to have the box.
So you're not like someone like me that like gets PS1 demos in chronological order.
No, I'm not.
But you want to see my collection that's in chronological order. See? So you want to see it, but you don't want to actually go out and experience it. You like watching other people waste their time and money on things. And you're like, you know what? I don't have to do shit. I'm good. Because I have dust on my shelves and empty walls that I look at night.
I don't have shelves.
And that's what I'm saying. So dusty
all right,
walls.
So I'm not I'm not as much a physical collector as I used to be.
So you're gonna buy this digitally, pre-install it to your fucking old ass PS4 that probably has dust over it that you don't even have.
It probably has so much dust, and it's in the basement right now.
Yeah, so when you want to buy a new TV that's going to be 4K and you get the Pro, because it's going to happen, then we'll talk.
I don't know. Because the TV's downstairs now. And it's like that works perfectly fine. So I don't know why I would. I'm not going to go out of my way.
So if I ever come there to visit you, we're just going to look at a fucking wall.
You cut out what?
If I ever come over there to visit you, we're going to look at a fucking wall.
Are you doing that on purpose? I can't tell if you're doing that on purpose or if your mic is cutting out. You're fucking.
I'm not. It's picking up.
So if you ever
if
you ever come down here to visit me, we literally will have nothing to do in my room.
I've always wanted to die in Canada, so let's go. Let's do it. All right.
I understand the appeal of physical media and collecting.
I know you're not degrading anything. You just don't care.
Well, like if I'm gonna move out, for example, like I don't want to lug around shelves and shelves of stuff,
Yeah, break the old ones, buy the new ones.
I got a Kindle, for example. You can fit like 1,000 books on a Kindle. It's great. It's like a physical book takes up so much space.
So you're gonna buy the inevitable Japanese collector's edition of Resident Evil 2 like me?
I couldn't get the last part of that sentence because you cut out.
I don't know. I'm coming in fine on my end. So, and I'm hardwired in Ethernet, baby.
Look.
So your connection's shit.
If there's
you gotta get a new fucking modem in your house.
If there's okay, no, I didn't. But if there's something that I've learned in life, it's that
life lessons from Richard. You heard it here first.
This is a life lesson. Never say never.
Fair enough.
Because I'm not going to say that I'll never start collecting ever again. And I'm not going to say that I'll never buy a physical piece of media ever again.
I will never stop collecting.
Because it could happen. You never know. Never say never. What were we talking about before we went
That's a very
on?
generic way to end. I'm kidding. We were talking about designs.
Oh,
right?
the faces.
Yes.
I really like Claire's new face.
take it or leave it.
I think she looks hot. I'm being honest with you, okay?
Well said. I mean, they are 4K. Literally, the visuals are 4K gorgeousness. I love this. They look great. They're trying to reinvent the models, make them look like they are, redone, but still stay true to it. Like Claire's still wearing red, and Leon's still wearing blue. So they all look like they took time with it. Like they all look good. Like they all look like they have detail for 4K and for their hair and the fluidity. Like it all looks good just from that. Just from those reveal trailers were my first thing. I was like, this game is visually going to be the best. You brought this up earlier, the best looking Resident Evil game, and I think it will.
It doesn't have VR pulling it down.
Exactly, yeah. And if there is an additional VR mode, then they will make an additional VR mode, but they didn't make the game centered around that as the sole factor, yeah.
Because the thing with RE7 is you had VR, which they were forced to cut corners to have the VR stuff, so. Claire's wearing a red jacket now. She's not wearing her classic vest. She was wearing a vest. She wore the black spandex shirt, and then she wore like a vest over top of that. So they changed her outfit. Her classic outfit will probably be there.
They also have an Elsa Walker skin for her in the bonus costume, so she can actually have that skin.
Unlockable costumes.
We'll get to that when we talk about the gameplay. I got all the little nooks and crannies here that we'll discuss.
What else do I have here?
Anything else for the trailers before we get into the gameplay?
They gave a hat to Mr. X, and I thought that was really awesome.
It looks like Freddy Krueger from New Nightmare.
Yeah, small little detail, but I love it. I love how he's wearing a hat because it's like he's trying to blend in, but he's obviously not doing a very good job. So it makes it really creepy because it's like, what? You know what I mean? Like he's trying to fit in, but he's... I don't know. It's cool that they gave him a hat. What else? Annette, I think she said we never meant for this to happen. I think that's Annette. And that's pretty much all my thoughts on the trailer.
So with that, we are getting into, after that, obviously fans were excited. They wanted to see gameplay. So the next day, there was 2 little segments of gameplay. I have a lot of stuff I'm going to bring up here from my personal notes. Richard has stuff as well. We probably have something that's, it's the same. I'm sure we're observing and listening. I was really listening to not only what the game had to offer, what the developers were saying. They were answering questions from Twitch and whatnot. This is the one with the actual developers to get the most information that we can so far. So we get all of you guys that are listening up to date and ourselves. So into the gameplay, we obviously talked about the camera angle. We talked about the visuals. This showed a lot more of that. It starts with entering into the police station. The police station obviously has everything. It's differently designed. It still has the statue, but the desks are up front. There's a camera system that Leon can check. Of course, we talked about Marvin being alive. But the main thing, of course, with the several design changes, what they started to look at is you still have your herbs, your ink ribbons, and item box. So the main thing that I wanted to talk about with these key features here, the RE engine, it's good, right? I like how it looks. I personally, the one thing I don't like is, and what I have against it right now, and again, they may change it. Certain people said they may change it before the final product, but it looks like it's going to be like this. I don't like the Resident Evil 7 inventory or the health or the switching of the weapons or any of that. I don't like that look, man. And I get they're trying to make it modern. I get it. But come on, man. Give us like a cool inventory system. It's not that hard to make. It's not so old that people can't grasp the old fucking inventory with combining items. But this is their engine. So they said, fuck it. Let's just paste it over to Resident Evil 2. And the button prompts on things to click, there better be a way to turn that off because that's fucking sucks, man. Like, I want no prompts. I want no maps. Like, he pulled up a fucking map and you just see everything. It's color-coded and stuff like that. What about the old maps where it just shows you the doors that are locked, that are unlocked, and that's it? This is going to have objective points and all that shit. I'm not a fan of that, man, because the one thing they said at the end of this gameplay, which I'll talk about more in depth at the end of our notes that we go through, is the fact that they were asked and they were saying, with carrying over the interface, they were still working on the difficulty of the overall game and the modes. They're tweaking that in the next few months. That's up and coming. So I don't know how they're going to implement that. I'm just not a fan of that particular style.
I don't remember, but did Resident Evil 7 it had a hard mode, right? Madhouse or whatever it was called. Did that mode take away the prompts?
No.
Oh, okay, so like you still saw like floating X's and stuff.
Yeah. And that's what the demo looked like too.
Unless
I don't know, unless I'm wrong, but I played Madhouse and there was still stuff to pick up. I don't think that's one of the things on that. One of the perks of Madhouse is they take away the items, like the locations.
Yeah, the entire UI user interface has been copied over from Resident Evil 7, so it's the same inventory system and the same button prompts and everything. I feel like the look of the menu is okay. It's whatever. And the inventory, I feel like it's the same inventory system from the classic Resident Evil games, and where you have like 6 or 8 slots, and then you can combine. And
also, there are side packs confirmed. Like during the gameplay, he picked up a side pack and he got 2 extra spaces. They did stuff like that. They did like show the case that within the guy playing like knew everything, obviously, because it was the guy who did the whole "we do it" thing. So he was playing, and they're going through it. And yeah, it looks like they're still in. So that's cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm asking for too much. I'm nitpicky.
No, I agree with you on. I don't think that the button prompts should be floating. You know what I mean? I don't think they should be on the map itself.
Yeah.
I don't want to see X's floating. X buttons. You know what I mean? I don't want to see buttons floating around the map. I don't want to see waypoints. I don't want to see any of that stuff. But the overall look of it is okay. I just don't want to see that stuff. I don't know if I'm making sense right now.
No, I see what you're saying.
Like the look of it is fine, but I don't want the immersion to be broken by video game stuff. Because the original Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil Remake, I guess a lot of survival horror games back in the day, they didn't have that stuff. But again, it goes back to that mainstream appeal, because a lot of people are just going to get frustrated and they're going to get lost, and they're not going to stick with the game.
Sorry to cut you off. I apologize.
Oh no, go on.
I was saying it's to mix in the old with the new, kind of like what you mentioned. You kind of hit the nail on the head about the camera angles. That's kind of their idea. Is like, well, we have to cater to these audiences from a business perspective.
Well, it's to make the game more accessible, right?
Exactly. Yeah, correct.
The more accessible the game is, the bigger your audience is going to be, because then you're going to have
more people that can actually play it.
Yeah, because someone who doesn't play the old games may not play them because they're too hard, or they got lost.
And they can easily make a hard mode that caters back to harder style and a challenge.
That's the
which
thing.
I hope they do. They just haven't. They said they're still working on that. So that's just something we're going to have to stay on as far as news related.
Maybe they're going to have a hard mode. Maybe. None of this has been confirmed, but maybe they might have a hard mode where you don't see buttons floating around the map. You don't see waypoints. You don't see anything. You don't see shiny items. It's funny how we can accept shiny items, but we can't accept the buttons that are floating. You know what I mean? Because like in Resident Evil Remake, it's like an important item.
I don't know. It just had a charm to it, But I can't say that, I guess we'll just see. Again, very nitpicky. It's not going to make or break my decision, but it's just a thought. I've seen some people share the same opinions over the days of reading everyone's awesome comments, and again, still list what you like and what you don't like under this podcast, because it is a podcast discussion, but it also involves you guys as well. And from that, we do have typewriters are confirmed. Now, the guy that was speaking, he obviously was broken English, so I didn't really get what he was trying to say. It sounded like he said you can save on a typewriter without the ink ribbon, or he said you need the ink ribbon to save on a typewriter. I don't know, because he said there are ink ribbons, but then it sounded like he said you can save on a typewriter without the ink ribbon. So I was like, interesting.
Did RE7 have a limited amount of saves
No.
in its hard mode?
You just went up to the thing and saved.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh
they're gonna,
no, maybe it did. Maybe it did.
Hmm.
I don't think so, because I never actually I played like the first couple hours of it on Madhouse, and then I zoned out and haven't played it since. But it might have. Maybe they make you spare the saves more. There is the item box, obviously. Again, same thing from 7. Now going on here, there's no loading doors or anything. When the chat was upset about the no loading doors, the producer was like, no, like, oh well, like she said like, get over it, because like we don't need the load times. He said, sorry. All he said was sorry. Like, they're like, well, people that want the old like load times, like, sorry, because they're not doing that. They don't need that. The
reason those games had loading doors
was because it needed to load the next the next area.
is because they need. Yeah,
people like it for nostalgia, though.
I understand, but
it just doesn't go with their modern approach that they're taking on this game. It doesn't go with their modern approach.
Well, they don't need to do that. Why would you make the player wait? They had to do that on the original systems because the systems required you to load into a new area. You can fit a lot more these days into an area. You don't need to load. You can just there's no sense in making the player wait through an unnecessary amount of loading screens. If they did that, they would be killing their game. People would hate that. And when I say people, I mean the mainstream audience. I mean people who go into the store, they don't know much about Resident Evil, but they know it's popular and they know people are talking about it. It wouldn't make sense. But are loading doors nostalgic? Hell yeah. They're so nostalgic, but it's like they're not going to do that. So you need to accept modern games for what they are now.
No, that's you really bring a good light on it, because I know it's a conversation that, will be back and forth for the people that may be in disagreement or agreement with one another in the comments, so we try to avoid arguing and whatnot, but debating. And I think, that's a good point. It's kind of a change in, this is where Resident Evil is going. And this goes back to what I kind of said in the beginning of the show was, again, this is how Resident Evil 8 is probably going to be. If this sells so well, they're like, you know what? Next story, whether it's Ethan or whoever the fuck or Jill or whoever it may be, make it like this. If they made a Resident Evil 8 like this, dark,
It'd be
great
great.
setting, Jill Valentine is the fucking main character or something, like that would be nuts. And you don't use fucking new shitty characters that have shitty writing and a shitty narrative. But anyway,
We should
let's
have
get back
a
to a game that
podcast episode where we just we write our own treatments for our own version of Resident Evil 8, and that'll be the entire episode.
That will be awesome. I love it. Let's do it.
You write your own story, and I'll write my own story, and we'll write like a 1 or 2 page treatment, and then Capcom will listen and give us money.
Or you guys will just listen and laugh your ass off. Will we be going for a serious approach, or will we be joking?
Serious, 100% serious. It's like, okay, so this is how the game starts, and this is the main character, and this is what happened, and then we'll have like our own enemy types and whatever. Just an idea that I'm throwing out there. Back to Resident Evil 2.
Yeah, no, that's I like that. We're gonna have to organize that and work that out. Well, that's what, going back to the no load times and stuff, Leon can use his knife in real time like Resident Evil 4 at any time.
Can he use his what? What'd you say?
His knife.
Okay.
His knife. He can pull out his knife like Resident Evil 4. So that was probably what you heard about them referencing Resident Evil 4. They also used the knife just like in real time. And they're obviously throughout the police station in Raccoon City, different enemy patterns and designs. The way they wanted to do it is what they said in the gameplay, is that they didn't want people to be expecting the new scares. So they changed it up. Kind of like Remake, like with the dog hitting the window, but it doesn't actually come in through the first time. Like in Remake, you know?
I wrote that down.
Yeah, so there you go. That goes back to your notes too.
So,
That's great,
yeah,
man. That's
the
what they got to
liquor-
do.
The liquor doesn't crawl over the window right away. They're going to shake things
Yeah,
up.
like in the demo, it shows that. Like it's not where you think it is. Like you
They
turn
show
right
it-
to where the liquor is, and it's like a barricade. It's not actually where it is.
But you can see it in the trailer.
In the trailer, you can see it, but in the gameplay,
There's a shot of it crawling over the window. But but when they're going through the demo, the liquor doesn't crawl over it. So it's like, okay.
The liquor looks awesome, and the low lighting, man, that looks fucking great.
Yeah, the lighting of the game looks really, classic Resident Evils aren't scary. I mean, they used to be, but you can play a classic Resident Evil game and you're not playing it to be scared. You're playing it because it's charming. You love it. It's nostalgic. Yeah. You can get why it was scary back in the day, but Resident Evil is also known for its campiness because the series can get
it's influenced from B movies. Like it's just what it is.
Yeah, characters. It has its ridiculous moments. It's very ridiculous, and
that's why we love it.
It's a very interesting series because sometimes, depending on the game, because not every Resident Evil game is scary, but sometimes you do get scared. Sometimes you just play it for its characters or the story or the overall charm of the game. This does not look charming. This looks like it's going to be intimidating.
Because it was rebuilt and you're not expecting, it's a good mix of old and new. And that's what we wanted. And it seems like that's what they're, delivering so far. And
it's like it's like Resident Evil 1 remake. It's like, I mean, it's in a way it's charming because it's a good game, but there's nothing intentionally charming about that game's atmosphere. It's dark and it's trying to scare you. It's trying to make you feel like you're nothing, like you have to, scavenge, and that's what this game feels like as well.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be a welcome approach for sure. And I think that they're going to have, again, people that will embrace it. And the main thing here is with the new areas of Raccoon City to explore. And because shout out to Tipster Gaming, he asked, it was at another stream when they asked about if there's going to be new areas of the actual city to explore, and they said yes. And hopefully that leads into Resident Evil 3. But again, I'll get that when we get to the miscellaneous stuff. One thing that I noticed that's pretty cool plays with them getting into the station. That's the one thing that I noticed. You can actually barricade windows now. You find boards and barricade any open window. Now, how expansive this will be, it's not like you can go to any window, but it seems like you can find reinforcements to stop zombies from getting to certain levels of the station or wherever you are. And then it kind of like gives you a backpack a little bit, like, all right, at least when I run through this, kind of like The Wire, in 2, when you have to close the shutters on whatever floor. So that's the vibe I kind of got from that. I was kind of harkening back to that idea. So, I guess that's something they're adding into that, and that looks awesome.
You can hold, or go on.
Oh no, I was saying that they can hold up to whatever, is on the other side, but I don't know how, strong it'll be. Maybe they'll hold them off completely. Maybe they'll eventually break in, or the zombie hands will come through the wall again, something cool shit like that. If
they're letting you board up windows, then there's probably a chance that they'll break through.
Yeah, especially if there's several.
And there's also probably a chance that there's going to be a lot of different zombies, not just police zombies, because they're all coming in from the city. So
yeah. I think it's cool that there's more like life in the station, because I feel like by the time Leon got there, I like that there's survivors still scattered throughout. Marvin especially, because obviously you know his fate, but he still has more dialogue. And there's still the party for Leon and all this stuff thrown in the background that people were picking up from the gameplay, where it has like, you know, little stuff like, you know, welcome Leon, what, you know, all that stuff like that. So it's still there. But instead of Leon coming in late for work, he was called in, and stuff like that. So it's little things like that that we picked up from the cinematics from the gameplay, because you can actually hear all the dialogue. Because the trailer reveal was just like, they made it sound like a movie. They're like, to shoot them, like, doom, like, I hate that shit, by the way. But it's better when you can actually see the, you know, the cinematic, and still kind of, you know, you can read the subtitles, but you can see what they're saying to full extent. And like I said, the videos are out there without the commentary. So if you want to hear the dialogue and the voice acting, it all sounds really good, especially the voice actors they went with. It sounds pretty good. So of course we wish it was the OG, but voice actors, but again, we know that story with them. So it's done and done.
Modern Resident Evil games usually have good voice actors.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah. Original games, not so much. But as the series, I want to say starting from RE4, characters have been voiced pretty well, and their cinematics have felt like actual movies as opposed to just like filler.
Yeah, no, 100% agree.
I noticed that Leon's handgun is called the Matilda, which was the same gun that he used.
Hey, no, I did not catch that.
Yeah, and in the demo, he opens the item box and you can see Leon's handgun in his inventory, and it says Matilda.
Awesome.
Same gun as Resident Evil 2, except in that game it was just called the handgun. And the Matilda was obviously in Resident Evil 4, but in that game it had burst fire. So it's cool that, you know, they're paying attention to little details like that. Because they could have easily made it, you know, some generic handgun that had nothing to do with Leon's original. The handgun ammo is red. Pretty cool.
Always. It needs to be. Was in 7 too, so.
Movement reminds me of Resident Evil 4. We already went over that. Game is running on the same engine as RE7. We went over that. Lighting and atmosphere, much darker. This isn't really...
The camera's much closer to the action that happens. You know, when you get grabbed or when you're aiming, you have to be more precise with your bullets because of how like the crosshairs are placed.
This is just...
So they seem to be messing around with that.
This is just me nitpicking, but I wish you could like actually mash the buttons when you got grabbed. Because it looks like you get grabbed, you get bit, and then it lets you go. Which makes it feel, I don't know, I don't like being locked in like that. It makes it feel like it's more automatic than a video game. But
well, it's kind of like the original, you know, RE2, and like you'd get grabbed, you would get bit once, but if you tap it fast enough, you can push them off.
But that's what I mean. It's like, I want to be able to tap the buttons to escape. And if you don't tap the buttons, maybe they bite you more.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying now. I feel very similar to that.
But that's just a nitpick. You know, I don't think it's going to break the game or anything. The health system is the same. It's...
Except now it flashes, like, so if you're getting bit with a zombie, the caution thing will flash on the screen to show that you're in caution.
Yeah.
That's what it does now, so
like
you don't have to constantly check, which was always like a thing I liked to keep in suspense, unless you had the Dreamcast versions where it told you right up front. But, you know, again, little things for more casual, more updated fluidity of gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So... makes a lot. Also, I did see defensive items. I'm pretty sure I did.
Okay. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, they're here. I saw them use it, and he didn't pick it back up, or he picked it back up, and it wasn't his knife. So, because obviously the knife is its own weapon, and you always hold on to it. So, like Resident Evil 4, you just click the shoulder button, and he takes out the knife. So it's like similar to that.
Zombies to me have never been scary, but in this game they look scary.
Yeah, they definitely gives me that vibe.
They look and sound...
intimidating. Like, you used intimidating. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I wrote that down here as well. Zombies look and sound more intimidating. Because like there's a shot where I think Leon like bends down to see a zombie. It's dead. It's leaning against the wall, and its mouth is like stretched open, and you can see
Yeah, the
like
jaw.
the inside of its jaw. That was very striking to me. Like that stuck out. There's a part where a guy's trying to like he's getting helped by Leon, and Leon tries to drag him out from underneath a door, and
Yeah, it's the rest of his body.
yeah, like the zombies ripped him in half from the other side. Again, that makes the zombies a lot more. That makes them a threat, you know, because slow zombies have
You want him to feel threatening.
yeah, like they've never really felt all of that threatening. But when you take in the fact that they can rip you apart and they can get ripped apart and still come after you, that to me is kind of scary. You know, like the feeling of
Very
being,
Day of the Deadish, which
Yeah.
I love.
choke on it.
Choke on him. Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, getting ganged up on and getting ripped apart, that's not something that gives me pleasant emotions, so that's good. You can hold a flashlight in one hand and then your handgun in the other. So that's
Yeah, I've noticed
how they're
that.
going to
Yeah.
balance the lighting.
So they said it's going to be a dark game. So
Not really, this doesn't have anything to do with the game, but I like how the developers were wearing We Do It shirts. Just
it's a fucking movement.
exactly. Oh God. I love it.
Gotta love it. Love it, love it, love it.
We kind of touched on this. There's going to be like, it's a remake, so there's going to be new stuff. So like Leon, for example.
No. Okay.
No, it's going to be the exact same game. Can you imagine if they just...
What do you mean it's not the same game I played 21
Can you
years
imagine
ago?
if they were like advertising this and then you buy it and it's just the original Resident Evil 2 on a PS4 disc?
They troll everyone.
We do it. That's all it says. Like, that's the instruction manual. We do it.
We did it, or we did it. Oh, shit.
Well, there's a scene where Leon's watching a videotape on the computer. The officer gets ripped in half. It's like Resident Evil 1 Remake, where it was the same but different. They added new stuff. Makes me think that there's going to be new locations.
Yeah, I think the developer said that it's confirmed there's going to be more. So.
The police station seems to be identical from what they showed. I didn't
Different
know
rooms, different structure, but it looks great.
They have the room
They
where
showed the staircase with the safe room. They showed that. There are safe rooms too in this game.
they showed the
Confirmed.
room with I don't know the name of it. You walk in, there's all the benches, and then there's the
furnace thing where you light it.
the podium or whatever.
Yeah.
Where like you stand at to give a speech.
Yeah.
That's in there. Restrooms have been added. I don't know if they serve a specific purpose, but they're there.
They just joked about it. They're like, we designed bathrooms. And it's like, all right. Cool.
Zombies can follow you into different rooms.
Oh, they just want a friend.
It kind of reminded me of Outbreak.
That's what a lot of people were saying that. It reminded them of Outbreak, where they just appear.
Yeah, because there's no loading screens anymore, so the zombies just kind of follow you now. The shooting reminds me of Resident Evil 7, but it's third person. It just kind of felt like they acted a lot like the Molded. Like you would shoot them and it wouldn't really do anything to them.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because it's the same engine. They mentioned that you can use gunpowder.
I heard about that.
So it's pretty cool. I'm glad that it's still being kept alive.
I'm happy they at least went over like some mechanics, like at least, be like, all right, we're gonna hold you over,
Mm-hmm. The guy, I'm not too sure about this, but this is what the guy said. They're gonna have separate campaigns for Leon and Claire.
Yeah, so there is no zapping system. They talked about that, but essentially what it's going to be is they're still going to connect, but there isn't a zapping. There is no, Claire B, Leon A. There's none of that. It's just like,
No,
it connects.
I heard them use that term, but I'm not
They
exactly.
they used the term, but I went back and watched it. What he said was like what we had before was the zapping system, but now we just have two separate
So
stories that connect.
but what do they mean by zapping? Because
That's what the old term was called, zapping. So
Okay.
going from like
'Cause when I think
doing one thing in
zapping-
one scenario, something else happened, like switching, back and forth.
all right. Because when I think zapping, I think Resident Evil 3, where it's one campaign, but you zap between two different characters.
No.
All right. So
Well,
zapping
and
is
as
when,
far as a storyline, that's kind of true. Like as far as a storyline, like how people said that like
because they
that
said
was
they
canon.
said separate campaigns, but it's like, well, the original one had separate campaigns, except they weren't
Yeah,
called
but-
campaigns; they were called scenarios.
Exactly, yeah. So
So
the scenarios
when they say zapping, do they mean like one thing in one campaign influences another thing?
correct, yeah, and it's
Okay.
like following a set path of story. Now it's just like the cutscene with Marvin, Leon, or he's like, oh, do you know that girl? Like he was like, because he ran into Claire, so he was like, you know that girl? Because that means she ran past him and she saw him and they talked. So like they referenced it. So it's one of those things where it's like the story is just Leon, Claire, they both connect. You play from her perspective, you play from his perspective. There is no A B for both of them, or do a BA for canon, like stuff like that. So they did talk about that. Thanks for bringing that up. I almost forgot to talk about that. That's important because they said they were getting rid of the zapping system, which they did. People weren't happy with it, but it is what it is. Like I said, we're getting what we're getting. How they combine the two, hopefully it's a good narrative and storytelling with what the new elements that they have. So
Good to know.
it's good to know.
Good to know.
Yeah, they got a lot. We got a lot of rich detail from a lot of this stuff.
So we went
So-
over the visuals, we went over the camera,
hmm
design and graphical changes.
Mhm.
I don't know too much about this, so maybe you want to shed some light on it.
What?
Yeah.
What's up?
Fan reactions.
Okay, but all right. So I'm gonna segue
Because
this
I haven't
into-
read any. I read a few comments, but from what
Well-
I read, it seems to be really positive.
Yes. So I haven't found the funny ones yet, but don't worry, I will. Because you're still what?
I just remembered funny comments from. I just like. I'm just like,
We go back in the archive. We started this show in, like I said, late
Oh my
2012,
God.
early 2013. We have so many moments of reading the comments, and go back in the playlist and check them out. They're not all on Spotify and iTunes and stuff because it'd be really expensive to keep them all up.
we did one episode where like half the podcast was just reading comments and
Yeah, because we had nothing else to probably talk about, and people thought it was funny. It's been kind of an inside joke between the longtime fans. The comments from what I've been reading from my channel, and the regulars that watch my content, and the new people that come in and watch my content and find it, and thank you. It seems pretty positive. There's people that were disappointed for certain features, like the RE7 kind of aspects being implemented in, which I agree with. Again, not having fixed camera angles was a little disappointing, but again, it's still, it was on my top feature list because it works very well with what we have here. That's the main thing, is it works very well. It's not like it's ruining the game as a whole, and it's very skeletal. No, this is a filled, jam-packed game that's might satisfy everyone. So the fans have been saying, and then the comments keep coming in, and they really like the visuals. They don't mind the designs. It's looking more positive, a lot more positive than RE7, obviously, and the fact that they're able to play a game that they love over and over again. So we're still getting a lot more comments and stuff like that, and I still want you guys to discuss with us or among everyone else in the comments and talk about that stuff, because you guys seem to be very passionate about it, just like we are. And it's something that's going to get a lot of people excited. So as this stuff goes on, all the Resident Evil channels will be posting content. Everybody will be talking. It'll be all one good, big, happy family. And we'll keep everybody kind of in the loop with that. The fans so far, it's a big turnaround, and I think if they get the fans by a certain point where they can say, hey, we can segue this into Resident Evil 8 and keep the fans in and embedded, and we have their attention now, that's what they should probably do. Because this is so positive, you know, the most positive it's been for a while. I mean, even through 6 and 7, it's been very roller coaster-ish, if you know what I mean. So maybe now we'll see some consistency in the response from the community. As far as the community on YouTube, which we've been a part of for 8 years, and we've built from just doing Let's Play videos that, you know, Let's Play is completely done now. Everything's streaming. But from the days of starting that, I've been able to always hear the outspoken opinions and different debates from everybody. And like I said, so far, so good. It's looking like a very positive stream of people that are pre-ordering it, getting it ready, really excited. I'm probably going to take a week off from work just to play and stream this fucking thing. So, you know, it's going to be an event. So, you know, take it as it is. We'll see how it is if they ever drop that damn demo. If not, we'll wait till it comes out, and then, you know, we'll expand our horizons as far as like what to expect when we have it in our hands. Just from people that have played it at E3, they've been saying positive things as well, and they actually played it. So that's a good thing to know. So we're not just seeing, you know, kind of this, you know, aurora of content and not have that, you know, backbone of like, yeah, it actually is pretty fucking cool. So fans so far, fucking, you know, great. And that's why, you know, again, leave your comments below. Let us know what you think of all this stuff up until this point. But I do want to bring up miscellaneous thoughts, miscellaneous things.
Okay.
Resident Evil 3. Just
Resident
fucking
Evil
remake it.
3.
Just
Yes.
fucking do it. Fucking
Yes.
do it. Make
Yes.
it DLC. I don't give a shit. You got to do it, man. This
No,
is
don't
it.
make it DLC. Make it its own game.
But I feel like they're not going to do that. I feel like they're like what Perry thinks they should do is just do 2, 3, and just keep going from there, right? But I want them. Oh man, I don't know. It depends on what they have for the future. I want them to do 3 so bad. But like what you said, if this does well,
If
more
this
than
does
likely-
well, then you can probably expect Resident Evil 3 to look like this with the RE7 menus and the great graphics.
then that will probably be my favorite remake. But you know,
But it'll be interesting to see how they.
model Jill and do the whole Raccoon City escape thing, just retelling it. You know,
Well, how do you do Nemesis in an over the shoulder?
That's what I was saying. I said that in my stream. I'm like, you can't do that over the shoulder. It wouldn't work.
Because he runs after you and you have to know when to dodge and everything.
Yeah, and like, would they not do it just because of that? I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe they'll mix and fix when he appears, so you have to run that way. I don't know. Maybe it's too confusing for people. Or maybe they'll make Nemesis just like, you know, different, which would be controversial because Nemesis is Nemi. He's our good old BOW friend. But, you know, we gotta. Well, I guess we'll see. But I want to see it. I definitely want to see it.
Same here.
And I think it would be the sister to this game. You know, it's like they need to be together. It just makes sense. You can't build up this whole Raccoon City and not destroy it. You got to use this engine and finish the fucking story, and do it like this, because this is already, you know, a really well put blueprint for everything else that has, you know, that all written all over it, and what people really want to experience the Raccoon City trilogy, whether it being remake and then this and then 3. You know, they're not going to remake 4 yet. No, I'm kidding. Please don't do that ever. But you know, yeah, I really think that
They remastered 1, or they remastered Remake 1. They're doing Resident Evil 2 Remake. They have to do 3.
yeah, you're one away, man. We're just one away. That's
Every
it.
other game, with the exception of Code Veronica, is on PS4. Like, it's on PS4.
Yeah,
Like, they're just missing 3. Like, they have 0, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Support Code Veronica. I know you can play it on the PS2 on PS4 thing, but actually, maybe they'll remake that.
yeah. People were talking about that too.
Maybe they'll
Get way better voice actors for that fucking game. I'll tell you that
Yeah.
much. it's like, it's a fun game. It's an innovative Resident Evil. Back then, people called that Resident Evil 4. But change the fucking voice actor. Please, no Steve Burnside. I'm done. I can't hear that again. But I'm probably gonna stream it soon and play because it's been a while, so I'm gonna have to hear it pretty soon. But again, we'll see how it is.
Code Veronica is
People
a
need
game
it.
that it grew on me the more time went by.
Yeah, I gotta. It's been a while since I played it through my LP years ago. Again, check out the playlist archives; they're all there.
I remember
all
when you
conveniently in
asked
order.
me, I don't think you asked me, but I think I said like, oh, I think I like Dead A more. And back then I just did not like Code Veronica that much. But
Opinions change.
yeah, I mean, looking back on the game, it's Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, but really hard. And PS2 graphics, which is pretty cool.
Now, I wanted to bring up something as well under this thought section of the podcast is someone said that there's a few things going around that I've also heard within reading the comments. So I'm going to bring it up here. If you guys were part of, posting these comments, awesome. Thank you. I've heard a few people say that this is going to connect to Resident Evil 7, that this does not take place in 1998. And apparently you can see Evelyn in the beginning of the trailer. So they're like, what is she doing there? Now, I didn't go back and confirm this, but this is what people were saying. There's like a figure when it like goes through the telephone booth and like you see like a figure. It looks like Evelyn from the front of Resident Evil 7.
Which trailer was this? The announcement
The
show?
reveal. Yeah.
Oh.
When it's like when the camera's
So-
turning
so
in
the
and
lo-
out
the-
of Raccoon
The
City.
long one?
Maybe, yeah. It's probably in both.
The one with the rat. Is it that one?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe it is. Or maybe it's the other one.
When does she show up again?
When it's showing Raccoon City and it's panning and it's going through like a telephone, like a broken like glass booth, and you see like a figure.
I'm skipping through it right now.
Yeah. Let me know if you can get to it. But I don't know. I didn't go back and look at it, but I remember looking at it, like not thinking anything of it. But now I'm like, wait, there's certain people that are saying that. I think it takes place in 1998 personally, but I want to see about this Evelyn shit because if they start implementing that, I am not a fan. Not jumping the gun saying they will, but I'm just saying generally I would not be a fan of that.
Okay, so I see Leon. Now it's Raccoon City. The camera's turning, spinning around. Okay, now it's like a car window, car mirror. Now I'm in an alleyway. I see the clock tower. I did not see a little girl.
Maybe it's in the reveal trailer or the other one.
I don't feel like looking for it. But in any case, I'm going to tell you right now that is highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. People do this all the time. They always theorize because...
I just thought it was interesting. I like bringing it up.
Yeah, but...
It's not realistic.
If you think Evelyn's going to be in the game... No. No, I don't accept that. Because, first of all, people theorize about this kind of stuff all the time. They say, oh, well, what if this character from the newer game or this newer movie or whatever...
Mark Main.
What if Rey is Obi-Wan Kenobi's daughter? What if Hunk is Alex Wesker? What if Evelyn is in Resident Evil 2? It's like, maybe there is a silhouette of a girl in there somewhere and I missed it, but it doesn't make sense for them to include Resident Evil 7 characters in a remake of Resident Evil 2. That doesn't make sense to me. It's Resident Evil 2. The game is called Resident Evil 2. Evelyn was like, she was a little girl, right?
Yeah.
She was the old lady, but was it because she was really old or did the virus make her age faster? I don't remember that game. Okay, whatever.
It was something with what she was infected with. What
I don't think they want anything Resident Evil 7 with the exception of the engine
Yeah.
because that's more...
You remind too many people of that, they're not going to have a good time. I'll tell you that much.
They don't want to include like story elements. They'll include the engine because, they use the engine for utility
It's
purposes.
the engine, yeah.
Yeah, like you need the...
They're using it for Devil May Cry 5. It even says in the trailer,
Exactly.
RE engine, so...
It's the latest engine. They're using that because, they need an engine. But in terms of like story beats, I don't see them including characters like Ethan or Evelyn. Especially, plus, it's called Resident Evil 2.
That's what it is.
And I'm sure that there's some kind of Easter egg or some note in Resident Evil 7 that references the Raccoon City outbreak in the 90s. So it doesn't make sense for Resident Evil 2 to take place in modern day.
Yeah, you can't do that. Raccoon City is 1998. That's 1998.
In terms of
I'll never forget
timeline,
it.
Resident Evil 7 was 2017, I think. And it tells you that. Like,
Yeah, like
there-
present day.
There are files in the game that have the date on them. And there are files that harken back to the Arclight Mountains. So get out of here with your Evelyn shit.
Hey man, I just like bringing it up. I like hearing your anger and frustration. No, I'm kidding. I do actually. So I think that really covers a lot of it. You know, we really did hit all the information that we got so far. And you know, we took notes on the trailers, we watched the gameplay, we studied it, talked, you know, chatted beforehand, kind of organized everything. And now it just comes down to you guys. Let us know in, you know, the comment section below about, you know, give us feedback on the episode, obviously, but also let us know, you know, your favorite things, your dislikes. Talk to your fellow commenters and, you know, just keep the conversation going. But your final thoughts on everything.
My final thoughts are, it looks like a good game. It looks like a really good game. Graphics look awesome. I've always been kind of picky when it came to graphics. I can accept a PS1 game because a PS1 game looks good for its time. I can't really accept a game that looks like Revelations 2. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because it's like I want a 2018 game to look like a 2018 game, and this to me looks like a 2018 game. Graphics look great. Character models look great, even though I don't really agree with Leon's face. Whatever, not a game breaker. That's just me nitpicking.
Yeah, I agree. We feel the same way about that.
I like the new look of Claire. I like how it looks like a remake. They're showing a lot of love to fans of Resident Evil 2, but they're also not forgetting that this is a game they need to sell, and I think they're doing a good job of making it appealing to people outside of the Resident Evil 2 fan circle. Because they even asked the guy, like, do you think this is a good game to start it to play if you haven't played a Resident Evil game before? And he was like, yeah.
I see.
I think it looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, and we'll be keeping everyone posted on the podcast and on his channel for any news or stuff that comes out, and we'll give our impressions on it. We're not done talking about it though on these shows. I'm going to be the next show, and our Resident Evil 3 episode is still in production, guys. Don't worry, it is being pieced together. I'm working on it every couple weeks to add more to what I'm writing. Essentially, it's all like note based and how I want to structure it. So in the meantime, the next episode that we will have, I will get different people from the community to talk about some of their favorite aspects of it, but we'll try to keep it refreshing. We'll try to take questions from people and mix it in and make it a good one. This is the actual in-depth discussion, though, completely, that will cover it from head to toe, which we've done so far until more stuff is out. So I think we did cover, obviously, I think the only thing we really skipped over was like the bonus content with the deluxe edition. You do get those costumes. You do get the soundtrack swap. It's $69.99, I believe, and it's GameStop, Amazon, Best Buy. You can pre-order it now digitally as well. Digitally on PS4, you get a dynamic theme specifically for digital people, which is what I'll probably get, and then I'll buy the physical. And if there's a Japanese collector's edition, I'll fucking get it, and I'll put it in Richard's room. My final thoughts.
To make sure I have something physical.
Yeah, just to make sure you have something. My final thoughts, I think it looks great. Like I said, I mentioned a few things that I was a little disappointed or let down with. But again, not going to change my opinion about it. I think it's, those features that we've listed and we've talked about for a few days now, It's prominent that they're going to do a good job, and this isn't a good team. I don't know where this team was when 7 was being developed, but they got to do Resident Evil 8. I believe there were different actual devs involved, so hopefully we get some of this leaking over to the new stuff, and the next wave of Resident Evil sequels, which we'll wait after this. I think it'll die down for a little bit. Then it'll come back up again. There'll be a spike of new Resident Evil content as they work on 8, and maybe they already are. So that's usually how they do it. They pump them out, but they keep it on the back burner, don't say anything. But yeah, man, it looks very promising. Their fan response has been awesome. Everyone's been chatting it up and just excited to see this because people have been wanting this for far too long. And, instead of getting asked about it over and over again, and talking about it over and over again on podcasts. It's crazy that we're doing a podcast actually talking about it now, like it's a thing that we've seen and studied. So it's only going to get more in depth.
It's probably a podcast of us from like 3 or 4 years ago talking about a potential Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to say is like we talked about this dating back to 2012, 2013, and the show strayed back that far. And as we've grown and production's gotten better, we've gotten more and better at doing these things. But we've always kind of kept it a free chat discussion, and we always talked about the potential remakes and stuff like that. But yeah, Resident Evil 2 has always been on people's minds. So, and that's really the main thing. And that was on that's why we got in touch with JJ to begin with, because he was in charge of, before he did Residents of Evil, he was a fan of this show, and he used to listen to our shows, and that inspired him. And he used to, just run a Resident Evil 2 remake fan page. It was just a fan page, before it was even a thing. And that's what we were promoting back in the day on the show. And you guys can obviously go back and listen to that. It's one of the earlier shows within like 2013, I think. And but it's kind of crazy that evolution of it. And he's going to be on the show as well. For the next episode, we're going to be doing that. So, but it's kind of cool that, it's all the years go by and it goes by so quick, but we finally got to see something. So I think that about covers it all. I'm going to do shamelessly plugging again, just everything. Of course, you can find this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and Libsyn for free download. They are free download MP3s. So some people, whether you stream or whether you want the file on your computer or device, you can download it for free at those respective spots. It's been doing really well on Spotify, like really well. Like people that don't even watch it, just like download it, find the channel, and then like they're like, holy shit, like where has this show been? So it's kind of cool because Spotify is starting to do podcasting now, which I think is really cool. So, it works for me. And I see we have a total of like 7,000 downloads, which is awesome because it used to be 3,000, used to be 5,000. Now it's 7,000. So it's like we're growing. And thank you for that. I really appreciate that. We weren't the first Resident Evil podcast on the internet, but we were the first on YouTube. That's for damn fucking sure. And now we're crossing over. So thank you for that. You can check it out there. You can follow me at Let's Talk _RE on Twitter for updates when I stream, when we do content, and Facebook.com/Let's Talk Resident Evil. It's as simple as that. Also find me on Twitch, Let's Talk Resident Evil. I stream on YouTube and Twitch simultaneously. I'm doing Dino Crisis 2. I've been doing that every Sunday. So that's been fun. And it's been a lot of fun, actually. And I'm going to be having a more consistent streaming schedule with my work schedule now. So I'll be streaming Mondays and Wednesdays later at the night. I'll find a actual set time for each day so we can have it consistent. So, yeah, that's everything that I got plugged. Richard has nothing at all. So, goodbye. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anything you want to plug? I mean, okay. So people have been asking me, what the fuck's up with you? Are you dead? Are you alive? And people are like, is Richard going to do content again? I miss Richard's content. So what do you have to say? Are you plugging anything? Are you going to be working on anything? If you have a lot of spare time, are you going to be using that to create content, or do you no longer care about anyone?
Well, at this point, I just have ideas, right? I don't want to announce anything because I have nothing.
Now, me and Richard have had conversations, beyond recording, behind the closed door, if you will,
right,
of like doing certain things.
It's a question of like.
That's not Resident Evil related, I mean.
What was that?
I said that's not we talked about doing things that aren't Resident Evil related, like on another somewhat format.
Oh, yes. We again, that was just an idea, you know. Like I said before, never say never. I don't
Just
know.
because when I put it on Twitter, people were like, holy shit, yeah, like fucking JJ liked it, like everyone fucking, in the community liked the tweet. I was like, it's confirmed, because that's when I talked to you, I was like, I'm gonna make sure he wants to do this before I say anything.
This is the first that I'm hearing of it, so I'm
Yeah, so,
I'm flattered that people miss the content, and I'm flattered that people want me making videos again. It's just like a question of like personal motivation, and if I feel like doing it or not. And if I do get back into the YouTube scene, is it going to be a Resident Evil channel, or is it going to be video games? Is it going to be something else entirely? So I've thought about it, but I just don't know what I want to do yet. So I'm not working on anything concrete right now. It's just ideas.
You got stuff floating around.
Yeah, but never say never. I could come back with a Resident Evil channel. I could come back with something entirely different. Or I could just stick to my Amish ways and watch Friends on my MacBook like I've been doing.
That's amazing, because I love Friends.
Yeah, it's a very good show, and I'm addicted to it.
Did you just get into it?
No, I used to watch it about like 10 years ago when it was on
Are you
TV.
on the Friends binge right now? You're going through that phase?
Yeah, like I would watch it when they would air episodes as reruns back in the day, but
Yeah, my mom never stops watching it. Like, she can quote like any episode. Oh yeah, that was this episode with this or that.
yeah, now I'm like actually binge watching it from the beginning.
Yeah, it's a great show, man. I love that. Seinfeld's good too. I like Seinfeld.
I used to watch Seinfeld as well. I watched all these sitcoms.
I love the
and I just
90s. Like, I don't know. It's just great. I love that.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That era's
Friends is so nostalgic.
It's so Scream-like.
It's so Scream.
David Arquette's even in it. Courtney Cox is in it.
Cox, yeah, it's so surreal seeing Gale Weathers actually being nice.
Yeah, right? Not a snobby reporter. But
It's a very relatable show too. It's just,
it really is. It does touch on a lot of
like,
topics you can relate to as you grow older. So it's kind of like a show that grows with you, and you like relate more to the topics they're talking about.
I'm like an amalgamation of Ross and Chandler.
Oh man.
Like I just I have shit luck with the ladies, and it's so funny just seeing like how relatable these characters can be.
Yeah, man, for sure. So as far as the content thing, yeah. So to be continued. Richard will keep everyone posted. Richard, you'll be back on a show again, right? It won't be another 2 years, right?
This particular show.
This particular show.
Yes, I will be on this particular show. All you have to do is ask me, because you never fucking ask me. So
that is not true.
For everyone listening, this is what Anthony will do. He'll send me a message on Facebook. He'll be like, "Yo, you want to do a show?" And then I'll be like, "Yeah, when?" And then he'll say, "Still in production."
Oh, come on.
And then that's it. And then a month.
Well, that
goes
was the
by,
Resident Evil 3 show.
And then
that
2
was
months go
talking.
by, and then 3 months go by, and then he comes back and he's like, "You want to do a show?" And I'm like,
Is that what it sounds like?
I'm like,
is that what it is?
I'm like, "When do you want to do the show?" And he's like, "I don't know. Still in production."
Dude, I've only been saying that about the Resident Evil 3 podcast. You're such full of shit. There was a solid 2 years you didn't want to do anything.
And Anthony, he never gives me...
But I'm not going to air out your dirty laundry. But there was a time where you didn't want to do it.
He never gives me release dates. He never does... he just...
He never gives me deadlines.
It's like, you guys have no idea.
Well, we'll be honest. Like, I mean, it's been 2 years of just like, inconsistent schedules, and you fell off the grid completely. Like, that's what people, they're like, well, Richard just like disappeared. Like, his channel stopped, content stopped, he stopped, and you stopped like caring about, doing content. So again, never say never, but that's when I was like, well, if we're going to do this, I just want you to be like, show some emotion, be enthusiastic. And he was like, no. He was like, no, yeah, we'll do it. And I told him, look, just take some notes, and here we are, and we lined it up. So, but that's about it. That covers everything, guys. Thank you so much for all the support and love and downloads and whatnot, and likes and comments. Subscribe for more Resident Evil content. We'll keep you posted on this show and the channel for more Resident Evil goodness. And thank you again, Richard, for taking the time on your fucking birthday. Happy birthday, Richard.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you taking the time for all that stuff. And everybody will leave a happy birthday, Richard, in the comments. If you're listening to this to the end, that's how you know that you listened to it that far. Other than that, that's it, guys. So we'll catch you guys in the next one. And that will be it for now. Goodbye.